Kang Ji-yoon, the confident and successful CEO of the prominent headhunting company Peoples, is highly dedicated to her work and excellent at what she does, always thriving and achieving the desired results. The problem is that she uses all her energy and skills solely for work, while in her personal life she's practically a child who needs to be looked after, even to avoid getting into strangers' cars thinking they're hers. For now, director Seo plays this almost maternal role, desperately searching for a secretary capable of handling Ji-yoon, though many have already quit, making it increasingly difficult to find someone competent enough. In the office, everyone hides and runs when she approaches because no one can handle her strong personality. Not to mention she's extremely disorganized and clumsy, frequently hurting herself. At home, she doesn't even have a bed, just a fridge with water and a sofa to sleep on. Seriously, someone urgently needs to take care of this child. From her office, she sees the employees celebrating another successful recruitment, but she never stops and immediately focuses on her next mission, recruiting hardware engineer Yang Ho-jin, currently employed at Hansu Electronics. She'll have to convince him to leave his current job and pursue a career at another electronics company, WS Electronics, which hired her as their recruiter. The CEO of Hansu Electronics is informed that someone is trying to poach his employee, and Mr. Song suggests assigning the task of persuading Ho-jin to stay with the company to manager Yu. This is where we meet Yu Yun-ho, the charming man who attracts the attention of all the women around him. Despite being extremely efficient at his job, always standing out and exceeding goals, unlike Ji-yoon, he's well liked by everyone at work. Elsewhere, we're introduced to Young Soo-yeon, who anxiously glances at the clock. When the doorbell rings, she quickly tidies up and eagerly answers. It's Yoon-ho, coming to pick up his daughter, Baol. Soo-yeon is a children's book author and a single mother to Seo-jun. Since she's Yoon-ho's neighbor, and he's also a single father, she babysits Baol when he's at work. Just like in the office, as soon as Yoon-ho enters the room, the energy shifts, leaving everyone smiling and radiating happiness. Due to becoming a single father at an early age, Yoon-ho developed an exceptional level of organization and efficiency in handling any task, whether at work or home, simple or complex. He always finds shortcuts to resolve problems quickly. Since Soo-yeon takes care of the kids at night, Yoon-ho is responsible for taking them to school in the morning. And of course, school is no different. When the mothers see Yoon-ho arriving, they're always captivated, not just by his looks, but also by his attentiveness and protective nature toward everyone around him. At the temple, Ji-yoon tries to convince Ho-jin to accept her proposal, knowing Hansu Electronics is no longer investing in hardware, whereas WS Electronics is striving to dominate the mobile device market. Just as she's about to win him over, she's interrupted by Yoon-ho, who arrives just in time. Yoon-ho says he knew he'd find Ho-jin there since it's where he always goes to think, which means he hasn't made a decision yet. He then asks Ho-jin to give him a chance to talk after finishing his conversation with Ji-yoon, before signing any papers. Unlike Ji-yoon, who can't even remember employees' names and focuses solely on her mission, Yoon-ho observes everything and knows exactly how to connect with people emotionally. Ho-jin dismisses Ji-yoon for now and agrees to talk privately with Yoon-ho in the office. Ji-yoon is furious, but also curious about how Yoon-ho so easily outmaneuvered her. Yoon-ho explains that Ho-jin has always been highly dedicated and is crucial to the company, while accusing Ji-yoon of caring only about her recruitment fee, without regard for the employee or the company. Ji-yoon counters that his company doesn't appreciate Ho-jin's value, and transferring him to WS Electronics would advance his career. Yoon-ho retorts that it's pointless to explain because she seems incapable of seeing beyond market logic. She doesn't understand the disruption caused by poaching a key designer. He emphasizes that it's not just about money, it's about the history, achievements, loyalty, and value of each employee and organization, which are more important than the selfish gain she seeks. After their argument, the two leave the temple at dusk. When Ji-yoon's phone dies and she can no longer light her way down the stairs, Yoon-ho, though still annoyed, can't leave her stranded. Without exchanging a word, he offers help, and she follows him. They descend together in silence, with Yoon-ho keeping an eye on her, given her clumsiness. Once they leave the temple, Ji-yoon declares she never wants to see him again, and he simply walks away without responding. Undeterred, Ji-yoon offers Ho-jin a ride the next day, using the trip to elaborate on her proposal. However, Ho-jin seems more focused on picking up his son, as he's already late. Upon arriving, Ji-yoon sees that Yoon-ho has already taken care of Ho-jin's son, earning his gratitude. That night, everyone celebrates Ho-jin's decision to stay at Hansu Electronics and congratulates Yoon-ho on another major achievement for the company. However, the cheerful atmosphere shifts when their boss, Mr. Song, arrives. He strips Yoon-ho of any credit, claiming that Ho-jin stayed solely due to the generous financial offer. Song clearly envies and despises Yoon-ho, always trying to belittle, humiliate, and disrespect him. Despite this, Yoon-ho remains steadfast, because he needs the job to care for his daughter. After the drunk Song is put into a taxi, vowing to ruin Yoon-ho's life, his colleagues wonder why Song hates him so much, despite Yoon-ho being the best at his job and constantly benefiting the company. An older employee then explains what happened a year ago. Before Yoon-ho's leave, he and Song worked together to revamp the company's management system. The CEO personally assigned the task, so Song gave it his all, hoping to finally gain recognition from the CEO, who favored Director Kim. However, when Yoon-ho received a phone call, everything fell apart. Yoon-ho discovered that his daughter was experiencing psychological issues, drawing strange pictures and becoming increasingly withdrawn. To take care of her, he requested paternity leave, which enraged Song. In reality, Song had always been incompetent and relied on Yoon-ho for everything. With Yoon-ho's departure, Song's incompetence was exposed and Director Kim's system was chosen, making Kim the leading executive. Meanwhile, Song's promotion was postponed indefinitely, and remains so to this day. Now Song does everything he can to make Yoon-ho's life difficult at the company, seeking revenge. He prevents Yoon-ho from focusing on his work, assigns him menial tasks far below his managerial level, and excludes him from important meetings, even though Yoon-ho is clearly the most qualified to lead them. When designer Ho-jin suddenly changed his mind about staying at Hansu Electronics and was hired by a Chinese company, Song wasted no time blaming Yoon-ho. Yoon-ho immediately tried to locate Ho-jin to understand what had happened and to resolve the situation. Taking advantage of the lost child that Ji-yoon tends to be, who ends up getting into his car, again mistaking it for hers. Yoon-ho confronts her, believing she was the one responsible for Ho-jin's transfer. Claiming that transferring Ho-jin to a Chinese company would ruin the designer's career and reputation. However, knowing she only cared about the transfer money, he didn't bother trying to reason with her, and instead demanded to know where Ho-jin was. Before Ji-yoon could respond, Yoon-ho received a message from Ho-jin saying he was at the airport and rushed to meet him, leaving Ji-yoon furious at how he had been treating her. The truth, however, is that Ji-yoon isn't the person Yoon-ho thinks she is. Yes, she's obsessed with completing her missions and finalizing transfers, but she also genuinely cares about the careers of those involved. When she refused to mediate the transfer between Ho-jin and the Chinese company, even warning the designer that it would damage his reputation, a new character was introduced, Kim Hae-jin, CEO of Career Way. Kim Hae-jin, Ji-yoon's unscrupulous rival recruiter, truly doesn't care about the companies or employees involved and is willing to use any means necessary to achieve her goals. Her sole desire is to crush Ji-yoon. She orchestrated Ho-jin's transfer to the Chinese company. When Yoon-ho found Ho-jin at the airport, the designer revealed that he had been removed from the company's project and would be sidelined, merely receiving a salary without any work. Feeling humiliated, he decided to accept the Chinese offer, which promised him complete creative freedom. Ho-jin realized that Hansu Electronics wasn't retaining him because they needed him, but rather to treat him as a potential traitor who might leak project data, even though he'd never been privy to such information. Yoon-ho then realized he had fallen into Song's trap. Song had orchestrated everything to accuse Yoon-ho of collaborating with a company traitor to leak technology. This was Song's ultimate revenge, getting Yoon-ho fired for cause and tarnishing his reputation, making it nearly impossible for him to find a job in the industry. Meanwhile, Director Seo is on the verge of losing her mind as Ji-yoon constantly seeks her out for every basic task that any normal person could easily handle, like printing documents and finding her phone. On top of being disorganized and clumsy, Ji-yoon often forgets to eat, and MIA has to keep an eye on her to ensure she's fed. Think I'm exaggerating? This is exactly what happens. Ji-yoon goes days without eating properly, solely focused on her work, until one night, her body can't take it anymore and she collapses. At the hospital, the doctor informs Ji-yoon that her brain is overworked and her body is weak. She needs to rest and eat better. Ji-yoon gets frustrated with her brain for being weak, while MIA worries that her own brain might be in the same condition since she's the one managing everything for Ji-yoon. To help her distress, MIA takes Ji-yoon to her husband's bookstore, as she discovered back in high school that reading children's books is the only way Ji-yoon can truly relieve stress. MIA mentions to her husband that she urgently needs to find a secretary who's both qualified enough to keep up with Ji-yoon and patient enough to handle her. Luckily, Kang-sok knows just the perfect candidate for the job. The next day, when Ji-yoon steps into the company elevator, despite her terrible memory for names and faces, she remembers Yoon-ho perfectly. Even though he tries to hide an embarrassment, she recognizes him and wonders what he's doing there. The atmosphere grows increasingly tense as the elevator ascends, and he doesn't get off at any of the stops until they both arrive at her office floor, the very floor he enters. Upon meeting MIA, who seems unusually cheerful today, Ji-yoon is introduced to the company's new hire, her director and secretary, Yoon-ho. And that's just the beginning of their story. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more amazing dramas like this. Let us know in the comments, would you survive working for Kang Ji-yoon? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.